Do you have a mentor coaching you in your snow and landscape company, or have you thought about coaching someone else? In today's podcast, I interview Jacob Peffer, who is the 2023 SIMA Scholarship Award winner. I met him at the SIMA Symposium, and in today's interview, he talks about what is the scholarship program and what kind of benefits is he getting from his various mentors? What is he learning? What books is he reading? And it's overall an inspiring story. He shares an incredible story of his first time interviewing a potential employee. So check it out. This is a great conversation. Let's get to it. Hey everyone, Jack Jostes here. Welcome to the Landscaper's Guide. This show is all about sales, marketing, and leadership ideas for the snow and landscape industry. And I love this industry. I love meeting people who have built their business from the time they were in high school into these multi-million-dollar organizations. I love meeting people who are running small businesses and large businesses. And today I'm excited to interview somebody who's pretty young in his career, but he's going for it. I was talking with today's guest about how busy he is. He's like, hey, I got your book. Thank you, but it's a lot. I'm so busy. And he didn't know the book is available on Audible. So check out The Tree of Good Fortune on Audible. Listen to it this summer. And now let's have our conversation with Jacob Peffer. All right, everyone. Welcome back to The Landscaper's Guide. Today, I'm excited to interview Jacob Peffer. He is the owner of Greener Concepts Lawn Care Solutions out in Cranberry Township, Pennsylvania. And he was the SIMA Scholarship winner. And Jacob, I really enjoyed meeting you at the SIMA Symposium, and thanks for coming on the show.
Yeah, thank you a lot. It's pretty cool to be here.
Well, so Jacob, tell us a little bit, what is the SIMA Scholarship and how were you selected?
So it's for first-time attendees. So I went on their site, and it's for one free full registration to the symposium, and you get $500 stipend, a travel stipend, and then 4 nights in the hotel. So I was selected. They kind of base it off of how long you've been in business, the money you generated in 2022, and that's basically it. That's what I did. And then they asked like what I wanted to learn from it and mentorships and stuff like that. It was cool.
And so how long have you been in business? How long have you had Greener Concepts?
I started it October 10th, 2021. So at the very end of the season. So I just tell everyone I started it last year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. So what were some of the things maybe that you learned at the symposium that inspired you in growing your company?
A lot of the people there were telling me systems and processes. Everybody I was asking stuff about, they were just get the back end stuff situated and focus on your processes, and everything else can just fall into place as time goes on.
And so right now, tell us a little bit about your company, the history of it. How did you get started? How many people are working with you currently?
Right now I have 3 employees. One's part-time, 2 are full-time. I was working for Grounds Guys, the franchise, in 2021. And I was in college. I dropped out of college and stuff. I was working in steel mills out of high school. And then COVID happened and stuff. So I just worked for Grounds Guys, and I just fell in love with mowing grass. So that's where it all started.
What do you like about it?
I just like there's just an end result to it. You get to look back at it and be like, wow, I did that. That's pretty cool. So, and I just, sometimes older clients would come out and speak, and I just liked talking to them and stuff. So it was just the clientele was fun too.
So we met on the bus after the SIMA. It was like a dinner train event. How cool was that dinner train event?
It was really cool. I've never experienced something like that. So
yeah,
it was
me
really
neither.
cool.
I'm glad that they did that, and we took a really funny selfie because that was hilarious. We were on the bus, we were having a chat. I'm like, I'm gonna take a photo, and we have this. It looks like a Polaroid camera or something. Like it's like kind of blurry.
It's so blurry.
It's not a good picture at all, but we're both laughing. One of the stories that you told me on the bus that I really liked was about how one of your employees showed up and just nailed an interview tell us the story. Tell us, tell us the whole
Yeah.
story, because I love this story.
So I was searching for someone around February because I knew I needed to get them kind of trained and into the process I already had. So I found him, and he actually lived two doors up from me. I mean, he graduated probably 3 years after I did. And so I asked one of my buddies, brothers, if he knew anyone that was wanting work, and he referred him. So his name's Trent. And I told him to meet at the local coffee shop. So I go there, half hour, 45 minutes early, and I'm nervous because it's my first interview with somebody for my business. And they're under construction. So I'm like, there's no way I have to go to
Mhm.
McDonald's right now because there was no other place to go except for McDonald's. We have 7,000 people in our hometown. So I had to go to
Mhm.
McDonald's. I had to text them and say, hey, we're gonna have to go to McDonald's. And I'm sitting in the corner waiting
Yeah.
for him, and he pulls up in dress shoes, nice pants, and a whole button-down t-shirt. And I was like, this kid's hired. He's just ready to go. His hair was done and everything. And he just nailed the interview. Just nailed it. So from that moment on, he's been here and he's kicking butt for me. So
I love that story. I love that you ended up at McDonald's, and he just brought that level of professionalism to the interview, and that you met him,
hmm
and that he nailed it. So that's
yeah,
such a great story. And
yeah, there was sorry, there was just a bunch of retired guys sitting around too, and they looked at him as he was walking through. He's like, what is this kid doing right now? All dressed up.
yeah, that's awesome. That's so good. So tell me a little bit about your logo and your mascot, Milo.
So he's right here. I wore him for the interview. Um, it's a squirrel. Everyone thinks it's a beaver. But my stepsister is actually she does graphic design part time.
Uh,
So I just asked her. I was like, hey, I'm interested in getting like a brand character for the business. I wanted some more freedom for my marketing and stuff and the social media. I wanted to give like a face to the company that wasn't human, I guess.
mhm.
And so I decided on a squirrel, and she came up with it, and I was like, that's perfect. So I just went and rolled with it.
That's awesome. And it's all over your website. The squirrel is all over. You've got him doing like lawn mowing. He's got a lawnmower. You've got property cleanups and
hmm
snow and different things. So I like it. I think it's kind of fun. It's definitely still professional and looks good. One of the things that I noticed when I was looking at your site with you on the bus, and I
hmm
said, "Hey Jacob, do you work for gmail.com?"
That was
Right?
so funny. Yeah.
Yeah, but one thing that's amazing is, so we were texting, and I think within like a day of the event, you created a new email address, right?
Yeah, literally the day after, because we flew back the next day after that closing event, I sat down and I was just laughing at the fact that it was like, I have a Gmail email account. I don't work for Gmail. So right then and there, I went on, you showed me Google Workspace. So I just went on Google Workspace, created it, and then it's been there ever since. And I created a bunch of aliases now because you can create free aliases. So I have a sales one and just my Jacob at Greener Concepts too.
I really like that. So it's kind of like Trent showing up and crushing the interview at McDonald's with getting dressed and
hmm
doing his hair and like just nailing it. Those little details of your email address make you a step up from somebody else who's at gmail.com,
hmm
and it's just a step in the right direction with professionalism. So I think those are little things that having your cool branded logo and your branded shirts, you're on track. And to me, that just showed that you're receptive and coachable, and you came to this event and you learned about a bunch of books and you're already taking action. So I mainly just wanted you to come on the show to highlight your story, and partly, a lot of people who are in SIMA may not get to meet you, but know that the SIMA Foundation, which we've donated to last year, we donated all of the proceeds from my book sales at the symposium to the SIMA Foundation. I love
hmm
connecting with people like you and seeing that, okay, these are people who are growing their business and working on it. So
Yeah.
thank you.
Well, no, thank you. Like I said, it was really overwhelming the amount of, people that were just throwing themselves at me, giving me advice, and I'm very grateful for the opportunity that was given to me. I was very appreciative, and it was it was an amazing experience that I got to do that. So,
Yeah. So what were, one of the things that you were telling me is that you've kind of reached there are lots of different levels that you reach as you grow your business, and you're at one where you may need a second truck, but your mentor was saying, "Hey, Jacob, before you get the second truck, you've got to get your numbers dialed in. You've got to get your processes dialed in." And I know that is tough news to hear because you're feeling at capacity and you're like, "Oh, if I had this other vehicle, I could do this." And I think it's really amazing that you have a mentor who's telling you those things, because that was one of the challenges in growing my own business is for many years I didn't really have a mentor or anyone who actually understood my business. I now have a mentor who has built up and sold his digital agency and runs a mastermind. So I'm always going to his group and learning from him. But for the first few years I didn't. And I think it's just really smart and wise of you to have a mentor and to listen to that. So I'm curious, can you share who that is and what are maybe some of the other things that you've learned in working with a mentor?
his name's David Gallagher. And I met him going to the gym, our local gym, at 5 in the morning every day. So he really helps with. I'm a very scatterbrained person, so he helps me just kind of hone in on the organization parts of the business. And I always tell him, you got to take risks. You got to be scared. And he goes, well, yeah, you don't want to do things that's going to kill your business, though. So he's very logical. He makes me think more logically. He always puts the feelings out of my decisions because I'm like, I know I need another truck. I have two trucks right now. I always keep telling myself I need a third one. And he's like, give me the spreadsheet, make a budget. And I'm like, I don't want to make a budget. I just want the other truck because I'm at capacity. I'm over capacity. So, but yeah, he's a very organized person, and I'm very blessed to have him in my life because I think I'd not be where I was without him.
Well, and I felt the same way with a lot of things in my business, with the things that I wanted to buy and budgeting, and some of the financial things really did not come naturally to me. And I ended up having, I've been transparent about it in my book and in the show, I ended up having a lot of debt, like six figures of business debt, like really got out of hand because I just kept borrowing and didn't spend the time on things like pricing and really nailing my numbers. And then I eventually, when I did, that was, and man, it caused a lot of stress for me. So, to have all of that debt and to not understand the money. And then I finally started reading, I read the book Profit First, and there's a Profit First for lawn and landscape companies. There's Tony Bass's book, The E-Myth, landscape
Yeah.
contractor, and that one, he has a strong financial background. There's a lot of different resources out there, but I think it's a balancing act of taking risks and taking calculated ones. And I know you're going to get the truck soon anyways, so
Yeah,
I'm excited.
he really helps me with that stuff because, like I said, I'm actually so behind on my bookkeeping and stuff too because I'm still in the field. I'm still trying to manage the employees and going to the estimates. It's all, they're all tiers of the businesses, but where I'm at right now, everything is just completely disorganized and I gotta try and organize everything. So it's hard. But yeah, he's definitely helped with spreadsheets, sending me, he's like, here, do this, follow this outline, and you'll be able to, figure stuff out. I'm like, but he never just does it for me. He makes me do it because I need to learn how to do it. But yeah, I'm taking an accounting class over the winter. I'm forcing myself to do it because I need to understand what's going on more.
Oh, that's awesome. That'll be so valuable.
Yeah.
So, you told me before the show you had a couple questions for me about sales and marketing that you wanted to work through on the
Yes.
show.
What is overlooked when it comes to marketing in our business?
One thing that I think is overlooked, and I feel like I'm beating a dead horse saying this so often, but it's online reviews. And the reason it's overlooked is many landscapers will say, oh, we're in a word of mouth business. I get referrals. I get the majority of my work from word of mouth. And I'm like, yeah, if you do a good job, you should be getting referrals. Like, if you're not getting referrals, you're probably not doing a good job, right? Like, if your lawns aren't looking excellent and the neighbor isn't like, hey, who is that? They look like they're showing up every week. I need that. You're probably doing something wrong. But what many people don't realize is that referrals will Google you. Like, let's say that I work with Greener Concepts, Jacob, and maybe they text your info. A lot of homeowners are going to Google you, right? And so I wanted to acknowledge that when I Googled you, you've got 38 Google reviews. You have a 4.9 star average.
Yeah, I got kicked with a 1 star this year. I was pretty upset about it, but
Well, let me read it. This person's saying that you didn't end up doing the job in the time frame.
yeah.
And you did the right thing here, though, Jacob. You said, Andrea, thanks for your feedback. Weather is one of the major headaches in our industry. We are extremely sorry we could not perform the job within your time frame. Pretty professional reply, right? That's like as good as it gets. So I think you did the right thing. And actually having a 4.9 or even like a 4.7 star average is good. It's actually better than having a perfect 5 star. So
is it because it's like you're almost too perfect, right?
Yes,
So you would
yes.
need
There
it.
are lots
Okay.
of studies. One of them that just came out a couple months ago is from the company Moz, M-O-Z, and they did the local business. This isn't the title, but it's basically they analyzed and interviewed thousands of people about their trust in online reviews. And people absolutely trust online reviews, but they get suspicious when they're all perfect, right? So what do most people do? Probably what you and I do. You click sort by lowest and you start reading the negative ones.
Everybody
and
does.
And then if the owner's an idiot and is like replying, well, you're an idiot to the customer, then it's like, oh, well, this is how this person's going to treat me when a problem comes up. Or it's an opportunity to show like, hey, this person's responsive. They took accountability. They were professional. I think I'm going to work with them.
Yeah, that's the one thing I looked at was, yeah, you get a 1 star, but I think most people will see how the company responds to that review. So I wanted to make sure I was professional. I don't want to make myself look stupid. So
no, you did the right thing.
another question I had for you was, what do most businesses at my size fail to do for sales and marketing?
I think that, when you're getting started and you're growing word of mouth and you're taking on what you can, you've got to increase your rates at a certain point. And I know a lot of companies when they're starting out, it's partly because they don't know their financials. They don't know their overhead costs. They don't know what they actually need to be charging. And and I did this myself, too focused on revenue and new customers and not focused enough on like, well, hey, did we profit on this? Are we making a profit? Because if you're not, then you're probably not charging enough. And so sometimes if you're closing too many sales, like some people are like, we close 90 to 100% of every estimate. It's like, like, are you charging enough? Right.
Yeah.
So I think that would be a key sales. That's more of it's a sales and operations issue of not charging enough. The other thing that I would strongly recommend that you do, and we were talking about crew control from Aspire or whatever software you end up using. And this is partly a bookkeeping thing, but keeping track of which services customers have bought and having detailed invoicing. So if it's lawn mowing, you've got lawn mowing. If you do landscaping, you've got landscaping. If you've got snow, you've got snow. If you've got irrigation, partly because then you can, once you build up your book of business, go back and upsell accounts. Like maybe they bought lawn mowing, but they haven't bought landscaping, and maybe they don't even know that you do landscaping. Maybe they think,
Yeah.
"Oh, I've known Jacob for 3 years, and I think he just mows lawns." But you're gonna increase your skills and the services that you offer, and having that organized allows you to send an email instead of spending like hours looking through and thinking, does Mrs. Jones have landscaping? You just
Hmm.
have that sorted in your database, and you can fire off emails to people like, hey, did you know that we offer landscaping? That
Yeah.
alone could be an amazing email to send.
Okay. What process lacks in the sales process?
I'd say the number one step that people are missing is a qualification step, meaning before you spend a ton of time walking a property, dreaming with people,
Hmm.
coming up with ideas of qualifying, are they in your service area? Do they need the services that you offer, and do they have a budget that fits with your company? And so one of the ways we help our clients with that is to create pricing guides on the website. So being transparent upfront on the website, you don't have to give a McDonald's list of menu pricing, but you could give ranges and help people understand how you come up with your pricing. That can eliminate people who are like, oh, you know what? I'm looking for a one-time mow for $20. And maybe you have I don't know, how long is your minimum contract with people? Do you have
So
one?
I actually, right now I don't, but I actually lost like $12,000 because we didn't cut grass for 2 weeks. Um,
Wow.
yeah, it hurt me pretty bad, because we got in a huge drought. And I lost around 12 grand, maybe a little less than that because we weren't mowing. There was nothing to cut. I literally cut 1 yard twice on two routes, um, out of 22, 23 yards in a day. Like 2 weeks. It was rough. So I don't have contracts. I'm doing it next year though. I have to.
I was curious, what are some of your goals with the future of the company? So you started this, you've been doing it for, you're saying, a year. What's your kind of vision of the company? Where are you headed?
Well, I'd like to get obviously, the pesticide applications. We're going to open that division next year. Um, and I'd like to scale in 3 years to 1 million. That's where I'd like to go. So that's where we're hopefully heading.
I love that goal. So let's pretend that it's 3 years from now, and let's pretend that we're looking at a pie chart of your revenue. What percentage of it would be, pesticide, or like lawn care versus landscaping versus lawn mowing versus snow? Have you thought about that?
I have, and it's just really hard to gauge because uh I don't know the markets enough. Obviously doing the mowing and stuff, I'd like that to be, you know, 40% of, the revenue. But going to that symposium was insane because there's so many companies there that are making so much money off of snow. They have more people employed in the winter than they do in the summer, some of them. So, ideally, you know, a third of each would be great. Right now I have two snow contracts, commercial contact contracts. I don't really want to do any residential. I feel like they're uh inconvenient. I just love cutting grass. So if I could cut grass year round, 100% of my revenue would be that just because I love doing it. Um, but that's not ideal.
Do you see yourself managing other people who cut grass, or do you want to be the one doing it?
Well, I'm doing it now, and it's very hard. Uh, because beginning of the year I was training people to do everything, and I was going out by myself mowing, you know, 10 to 15 yards, and then they were doing the rest. Um, and it was hard quality wise. I was getting consistent complaints every single week. 3, 4 of the clients every single week were complaining. So what I did is I created a system. It's a binder in the truck that has the satellite vision or the satellite view of the yards. And then I drew on each yard a trimming route so they could do it efficiently. And I circled things that they had to blow off and stuff like that to ensure that they didn't miss anything. So, um, I think so far I've been doing okay, but there's always room for improvement to managing. So,
Cool. Well, Jacob, it was a pleasure meeting you, and I hope to see you at another show sometime. And thanks so much for coming on the show.
thank you so much. It was a pleasure.
All right, everyone. Hope you enjoyed today's show. If you did, make sure to subscribe at landscapersguide.com, where you'll get our weekly podcast email newsletter and invitations to all of our upcoming events. And if you're listening to this on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, if you're watching it on YouTube, like it, leave a review where you can leave a review. It helps more people learn about the show. My name's Jack Jostes, and I look forward to talking to you next week on The Landscaper's Guide. I was talking with today's guest. He's like, "Hey, you sent me your book. I'm busy." Let's let's pick it up there.